I'm glad you came directly to my office. It's much more convenient if I kill you here. You're about to learn you can't escape the long arm of the law. I told you I would dance in your grave, and I meant it.
In 2005, Stubbs the Zombie dug himself out of the grave and made his way onto the original Xbox and PC in White Load Games' debut onto the video game market. With the idea of putting you in the role of the villain, Stubbs allows you to play the patient zero to a massive zombie outbreak. Although you weren't able to be part of this outbreak until the game was re-released in 2021. Stubbs the Zombie went through some issues that led to it being taken off Steam and even the Xbox Live Marketplace for nearly a decade, but just like any good zombie, he managed to find his way back. And now you can play the game on practically any platform. This resilience is honestly no surprise when you take a look at Wide Load Studios and their history as a development studio. Normally I don't discuss development histories of the games I review, but this one is an exception because Wide Load Studios was founded by Alex Seropian, who is the co-founder of Bungie and was on deck with them as they created Halo Combat Evolved, aka one of the best shooters of all time. Shortly after Halo's release, Seropian found himself frustrated with the game development process and decided to leave Bungie to do things his way. Load was founded with the goal of proving small studios with modest funds can create games that could still sell well compared to their AAA counterparts. This is interesting seeing how in recent years AA studios have been releasing financially successful games while being on a budget lower than the AAA studios. So in a way, the studio is actually ahead of their time. When Seropian left Bungie, I'm assuming it was on good terms because Stubbs the Zombie actually uses the Halo engine, which at the time was plastered on the box as a way to advertise a new title to the market. I'm gonna be honest, this is an interesting strategy. I don't think gamers were as nerdy about the technical side of video games back then as they are today. Hell, some of them might even have looked at it and thought, oh, I don't know what the fucking engine is, but I do love me some Halo, and probably picked up the game and... Oh, that's the idea behind... Okay, yeah, I get it. Anyways, while this was an advertised feature of the game, it would also prove to be a huge hurdle in its development. Bungie built the Halo engine from the ground up, and as we all know, it was a damn good engine seeing how well it still holds up to this very day. But when Wide Load got their hands on it, they realized they have no idea how to use the damn thing. And then Bungie was like, oh shit, honestly, we don't even know how to teach people how to use the engine because we just kinda knew how it worked. And then even if Bungie wanted to help out Wide Load, they couldn't because they never kept any documentation on the engine, so at this point in time, the Halo engine was just one big fucking mystery to solve, because no one knew what the hell they were doing with it. This led to Seropian spending a massive amount of time figuring out how the damn engine worked, and then spending even more time training his employees on how to use it. So with all those hurdles in mind, let's finally talk about the game itself. Stubbs the Zombie places you in the city of Punchbowl as Stubbs reanimates and immediately starts devouring everyone in sight. You'll notice the city looks a lot like how the Fallout world looked before people went crazy with the nukes, and that is due to the game taking place in an alt history where technology has rapidly progressed and giving people what is basically seen as a utopia of a city to live in. All thanks to your friendly neighborhood Nazi scientists who cut a deal with the American government so BJ Blazkowicz won't stomp his fucking piece of shit head in. Expect to see things such as floating cars, laser guns, and guide bots. One of which acts as your tutorial, and she is honestly such a sweetheart since she puts up with you committing acts of cannibalism around the city. So, speaking of cannibalism, that is the main feature of this game, where Stubbs whittles down the human's health just enough to stun them, where he could grab that skull and have himself some brains too. This gives you access to a number of benefits, the first of which giving you access to your special zombie abilities. Stubbs just isn't your regular undead. He's an alpha zombie, so he has access to things other zombies do not have, such as being able to reach into the gaping wound in his side, rip out some useless organ like the lungs, and just yeet that shit across the map, where it becomes a gut bomb and just straight up destroys any poor soul that happens to be near it. This is easily one of your strongest abilities, and dear lord, it's fun to see in action every time. Also, eating all that human meat doesn't exactly sit well with Stubbs' stomach, if he, hasn't already ripped it out, that is. So Stubbs has access to a fart ability that basically breaks the Geneva Gas Protocol, effectively making Stubbs a war criminal. When you unleash this unholy gas, every human around you will immediately just puke their guts out, leaving them open for you to get an easy brain snack. Doing this will stun an entire room of enemies and allows you to quickly eliminate all of them. If you get tired of being a zombie, Stubbs can rip off his arm and toss it, allowing him to actually mind control a human. How this works, I have no fucking clue, but I'm assuming it works a lot like those head massager things where Stubbs' fingers just give you the best massage of your life, and you just kinda go on autopilot because of it. While doing this, you gain access to the weapons the human was using, ranging from pistols, snipers, and just a straight up fucking rocket launcher. Finally, we have this bowling ball ability where Stubbs rips off his own head, allowing you to control the roll and cause a massive explosion when you find a group of people. This ability honestly isn't that great because the gut bomb is already so damn good to begin with, and the charge up time on this feels way longer than it should. So let's talk about the best part about being a zombie, and that is creating your own undead horde. When Stubbs kills someone through a gut bomb or by eating their brains, those enemies will return as zombies and will aid you on your journey. You'll be creating a ton of zombies through the game, and it really helps that the gore in the game is honestly fun to watch every time as a geyser of blood erupts from some poor bastard's head, and then chunks of meat fly out as Stubbs finishes his meal. When you have your undead horde, they'll follow your lead and just swarm anything in their paths. This often leads to complete and total chaos as people are screaming around you, gunshots are going off in every direction, and blood is just all over the place from zombies and humans alike. Whiteload said they wanted to bring a new perspective to the zombie genre, and my god, if I knew it was this fun to be a zombie, I would have thrown Frank West or Chris Redfield under the bus a long time ago. Sadly, this system isn't without its problems. Zombies are incredibly slow at times, and I know that sounds like a no shit Sherlock moment, but when you're just getting down from the bloodlust of swarming a group of humans and have to wait for these little shits to drag their feet towards the next human buffet, you can't help but feel a little impatient after a while. To make matters worse, for some reason, the game only allows a certain amount of zombies to follow your orders when you have a large horde going on. You do the follow command and a sizable amount of them will obey, but then some of them will just fuck off to La La Land or wherever the hell they're going to do their own thing. This is a bit of a letdown because having a massive horde follow in your footsteps as you raid the town is an awesome feeling. But when the horde starts going away into different directions, it can feel pretty frustrating. Also, the zombies aren't exactly the sharpest tool in the shed. Yes, I understand, I did eat their brains, but waiting for them to complete objective goals such as powering a circuit or breaking down a wall, only for them to not comply, makes you want to commit zombie cannibalism at times. Also, their pathing for the most part is actually pretty well done, but there are times where they just kinda get themselves killed. That's basically it for the core gameplay, which brings up the topic I frequently address in my reviews, which is repetition. I have criticized a fair amount of games for being a bit too repetitive, the most recent being Stranger's Wrath and the frequent sucking you had to do in it. Although Stubbs ends up being on the opposite end of that criticism because oh my god, the game is just a blast all the way through. At no point did I think, oh, here we go, gonna eat this NPC's brain again. Instead, I was thinking, get that pink meat in my mouth, bitch boy. And just having a great time role-playing a zombie. Really, repetition in games is fine so long as the repetitive elements are fun. And with Stubbs, I can definitely say the game stays fun. Despite being fun, there are definitely a few weird things the game does, such as the music in the game. The game actually won a few Best Soundtrack awards, and for damn good reason that I can't show you because YouTube will break through my door, throw a gut bomb on my genitalia, and blow me into the stratosphere. Although this accolade is ironic because the game music itself actually doesn't play unless it's scripted. That means as you and your zombie horde roll into the city, the screams and sounds of disembowelment are going to be your soundtrack instead of actual music. Which, don't get me wrong, I do like hearing the efforts of my hard work pay off, but the game actually has some really fun tracks and it makes me sad that they don't display it more in the game. Plus, I wouldn't mind using them for my videos because I like to use video game soundtracks as background noise, mainly because I'm not Grimbeard and I can't make dope music on the fly like he does. Since we're talking about audio, let's talk about visuals. And for a game that came out in 2005, Stubbs holds up very well in my opinion. Be warned, the game has a filter option enabled by default that gives the game a more George Romero look to it, but honestly I turned that off because the blood mixed in with the bright colors of the city was a fun thing to watch. With that filter off, you can also enjoy the details of the gore a bit more. One of my favorite bits is the smoke from Stubbs' cigarette coming out of his side since he has a massive fucking hole there. I also like how each time you eat someone's brains, a massive crater in their skull can be seen. It's a nice way to keep track of who you ate and who you killed with a good old gut bomb. Speaking of making zombies, every model in the game has a regular human model and a zombie model. So when you make a new zombie, it's not going to be default zombie model number 5, but instead it's going to be the person you just devoured. Which honestly is a nice touch because some games are tempted to cut corners on things like this, but Stubbs didn't. So the game shows their love for the zombie genre by placing you into famous environments made popular by the movies. During your time with Stubbs, you'll raid a police station, invade the town's mall, but Frank West isn't there to stop you with a mini chainsaw, and you'll take on some country folk as you break into a farmstead. With these environments, you get to experience some of the most iconic zombie scenarios, but in the perspective of the undead. Honestly, with the thousands of zombie games on the market, this twist on the genre is what makes Stubbs stand out, and I honestly think it's worth your time because of it. Hell, if you need me to sell you on this game more, the first boss battle of the game is with the police commissioner, and instead of throwing gut bombs at him, you're throwing down some sick moves on the dance floor. Look, I'm gonna be honest, this scene makes no sense at all, but it's the most memorable part of the game, and it's a ton of fun even if you're not into rhythm games. Seeing Stubbs bust a move alongside this tiny man that's just a ball of rage kills me every time. And the songs you're dancing to are classic 50s era songs that are either covers or remix version of the song. Seriously, check out the game's remix of Lonesome Town by Milton Mapes when you get the chance. During the dance battle, I love how the police and the zombies are on different sides of the room cheering on their leaders. It's just this idea of this group having a bloody battle only for them to stop and go, "Yo, motherfucking dance off!" And that just makes this fever dream of a scene even better. Sadly, that's the only really notable boss fight in the game. The other two are pretty standard, and dear god, one of them is a fucking drag because the man is in a jetpack and just mows you down in seconds. The other is just breaking down a barrier. Again, if I had $1 for every game I reviewed that had lackluster boss fights, I would have $4. Which isn't a lot, but it's weird it's happened 4 times. Jesus Christ, at this rate I'm gonna have to review a From Software game so I could stop making this fucking joke. Also, we have another point to discuss, which is the length of the game. By the end of the game, my playtime was about 5.1 hours played, but in reality, I realized it was actually about 4 hours because a while ago, I recorded an hour-long LP of the game that I never released due to social anxiety. So yeah, this is a very short game, and there isn't any extra stuff like collectibles or climbing 200 towers so you could synchronize the map just so you could go off and find 300 fucking collectibles in an area in an attempt to pad out gameplay, instead of, adding anything interesting to the game. So in closing, Stubbs the Zombie is a neat little gem that is currently decomposing in your backyard, just waiting for you to dig it up. If you love the zombie genre in video games, then I think you should check out this game to get a unique perspective that really hasn't been attempted since... Wait, Raise the Dead did? Why the fuck haven't I heard about this until now? Alright, that's going on the list. Seropian and his team at Whitelow deserve to pat themselves on the back for making such a fun and unique experience, and with the re-release, I wonder what Whitelow has been up to since then. Actually, you know what, hold on, let me look them up real wait. They were bought out by Disney? Fucking Disney? Wait, oh my god, this means Stubbs was a Disney property at one point. This farting, gut-ripping, brain-chewing zombie was a Disney princess for a short time. Sorry, I'm just letting that sink in. Alright, I'm letting that sink in way too much. I need to end the video. I have no idea what I'm reviewing next because I don't know if you have noticed, but there is no consistency in the games I review. But if you have a suggestion, leave it in the comments and I'll add it to my fat review list if it's not already there. Alright, I'm gonna go have a mental breakdown about just how much shit Disney owns. If you liked the video, you should like the video, and please subscribe for my reviews, and maybe even some gameplay videos in between. That's mainly because these take a while to make. Until then, try not to get your noggin chomped on, and I hope to see you next time.